Aloha guitar class. This is lesson 13. Um, we have a few more left in the semester, and we're going to be picking up the pace a little bit more. Um, it's always, I always think about a lot when I'm planning this course, uh, like how much to include in the course. And I always seem to think that it's better to err on the side of including more content, um, and then grading the course on some more minimal type things like just making sure that you are doing the assignments and watching the videos and giving it a go, giving it a good try on each of the things and making some progress throughout the semester. But I like to kind of amp up the content a bit more because I like everyone to have things to work on beyond the course. You've probably heard me say this before in the videos, so it can get a little bit repetitive. Um, but yeah, don't feel like that you have to be able to play all of these things perfectly. I would be satisfied and happy, I think, at this point if the majority of the course, the majority of the students were able to play some of these things at a very slow pace. Just being able to actually look at the tabs and figure out what you're supposed to do. But the speed and the proficiency is something that will come later on. But yeah, I try to give you a lot of things and then have some example videos that you can look at, and you can try a bunch of different things and be introduced to a number of things that I feel like are important. Uh, Important techniques, important concepts to understand, um, to help you do some things beyond the course to keep going with your music, to know how to use the online resources to find songs now that you can read tabs, how to do some basic strumming. Now, the world of music is opening up to you. You're able to get a song chart in your hands, and even though the difficulty level might still be beyond you, or probably will be beyond you, you can try it out. Maybe learn a couple parts of a song, or play the notes at a slow tempo, and gradually build it up into something. So these next few lessons, it might feel like I'm throwing a lot of different things at you. Um, so I'm sorry for that, but yeah, I wanna make it interesting, and include lots of things in the course. Uh, so anyway, the first thing we're gonna do, we're gonna learn a new scale. So here's the documents. You should get ready. A minor movable scale, notes on the sixth string, uh, Hotel California Redux, which should say like Riff or something, but it's really the Hotel California Riff. Redux is that it's kind of a Photoshop job to reduce the music down to just the essentials. Creedence Clearwater Revival, otherwise known as CCR. Have you ever seen the rain? So first thing is the scale A minor. So far all of the scales that we've done have been major, and we did one of the blues scales. And last couple lessons ago we learned the C major movable scale, so let's play that one. Okay, if you don't have it out, just press pause and get it out if you don't have it memorized. Hopefully we're moving towards trying to memorize these things at a little bit of a faster pace. Okay. Besides the movable blues scale, This will probably be the last scale, the last couple of scales that we have to learn before the end of the semester. Okay, C major movable first though, starting from the 8th fret. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Chord here is C. So it's good to play this chord at the end of that. Just so you know, helps your ear training to hear that chord in relation to the scale. Now let's play that with the backing track. Okay, our C major backing track, you have this in your study materials, the link, the YouTube link. Ready? We're going to play quarter notes. C major movable, same scale we just played. 2, 3, 4. Okay. And when you get the backing track, always jump to like the 20 seconds where he counts it off. Otherwise, you have to sit there and listen to that intro part, which after you hear it once, you don't really want to hear it again and again and again. Now, let's talk about improvisation. All right, this is like a vast topic. This is a thing that people like me spend their whole lives trying to figure out how to do, and constantly working on it to try and be creative and stuff like that. But I just want to get you kind of moving in that direction, all right? Because it's a really enjoyable thing to do, and if you ever, another really enjoyable thing to do with music is to get together with another musician, which you know, currently is kind of a no-no unless you know, meet outside in a park somewhere and you both wear masks. Then that could be okay. If I show this video at a later date, this might be kind of dated, but we're in the middle of the 2020 COVID pandemic right now, so playing in bands is a little bit tricky. But usually what you do when you get together with other musicians is you jam. So one person might play some chords and the other person does some improv, right? So like if one person's playing, you know, C, or whatever, that's a chord progression in the key of C. The C major scale works along with that. You know, just a little noodling improv there. I'm not sure if that was very good, but that's just an example. You know, one person's playing the chords, another person is doing a solo in the key of C. Okay, so the way to get started with that. Okay, so far we've just been going up and down the scale. So when you do improv, first of all, you don't want to do that. You don't want to start on the first note of the scale and go straight up the scale, or start on the last note of the scale and go straight down the scale. So you want to mix it up somehow. So a good thing to do is to look at your chord chart and then play random quarter notes out of the scale. Okay? That doesn't mean you can't go up and down the scale, but just don't start on the first note. Start on another note in the scale. Okay, once you can do random quarter notes, we can start to do some random eighth notes, because when you improvise, you have to improvise not just with the notes, but with the rhythms. And that's what makes it good. If you're playing the right notes and playing them rhythmically, precisely and accurately, then it's good. If your rhythms are off and you're playing some wrong notes, then it's not going to be very good. Okay, but at this point it doesn't matter if it's good or not. We just want to get out of the habit of playing the scales straight up and straight down. So I'm going to demonstrate random quarter notes, and this is something that you can practice. That'll give you kind of a fun little challenge to do and a chance to get creative. All right, because in an arts class like this, we're supposed to be creative, but that's hard to do when we're kind of just learning how to read and how to follow instructions and stuff. But at this point, it's a good time to maybe start thinking about that, and then in some later lesson videos we might talk about how to get rhythmically creative with the strum patterns. Okay, so I'm gonna do random quarter notes. Ready? With the C major scale, C major movable. Okay, those were like all quarter notes except the last one. I held it. Another thing you can do is you can articulate those notes. Okay, now articulations are things like vibrato, where you bend the string. What I'm doing is I'm bending the string back and forth. You don't want to do that too much because it'll hurt your finger, but you do it just enough to where the note does that. Another articulation is like if I slide to a note, or I hammer on a note. Or pull off. I believe, yeah, we've talked about hammer-ons and pull-offs. I'm not sure if we've had any slides yet. But a slide is just where I play one note and I slide my finger. You want to make sure you press down through the slide and hit the target that you're trying to hit. Okay, so vibrato, slide, hammer-on, pull off. I'm trying to do the same note. Pull off. Trill. Tremolo. Those are all different kinds of articulations, a way to decorate the notes, and that also is a way that you can be more creative and expressive. And you can do that with the quarter notes. So let's do a little bit more. I'll add some articulation this time. So that gets us into getting random with the scale, playing random quarter notes, trying to add some articulations, and that's fun. That's a lot of fun. Okay, let's learn the A minor scale. Okay, now when you're learning these scales, make sure that you pay attention to the fingerings. These numbers here are all tell you which fingers to use this tells you what the notes are. Let's play A minor. Now this one starts on the 5th fret. So use the dots. You've got a dot here on 5. That's obscured a little bit, but here's your dot on 7. If you count the frets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're starting here on 5. Ready? A 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7. Now here you got to shift over to 4 because this note here is on 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is a scale that doesn't fit neatly on 4 frets. It fits on 5 frets. So the easiest way to do that is you just shift over to this position. So 4, 5, 6, 7, and we go 4, 5 with the middle finger, 7 with the pinky. And then when we go to the next string, we shift back because this tells you to put your first finger here on 5. So 5, 6, 8, 5, 7, 8. And we're going to go back. 7, 5, 8, 6, 5. And then we want to shift over when we get to this string again. So put your pinky on 7, 5, 4, and shift back. Put your ring finger on 7 here. 5, pinky, ring finger. 8, 7, 5. Okay, so other than that third string where we have to shift back to here, it fits neatly on 5, 6, 7, 8. And some of the scales will fit neatly on just 4 frets, and some of them have places where you have to shift. Okay, and you want to shift when you go ascend the scale, and you want to do the same shift when you descend the scale. Make sure that you're using the same fingers to go up the scale that you use to come down the scale. And the related chord here, A minor. So that has a little bit of a different sound. Some people think the major scale sounds a little bit happy, a little bit brighter, and that the minor scale sounds a little bit more sad or melancholy, a little bit darker. And generally that's true. Songs that are written in a minor key have kind of a sadder, serious, dark tone to them, which is cool. I kind of like those kinds of songs. And major sounds have a kind of a happier, more upbeat, brighter type of sound to them. Okay, now you can use the same backing track for this because A minor and C major are related, and if you look at the notes, if you compare what the notes are in the A minor scale and the notes in the C minor scale, you'll see that they're the same notes, but they're just in a different order. So the C scale goes C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and the A minor scale goes A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Just the same notes in a different order. So we can use the same backing track. Or if you wanted to, you could go and try to find one that's in a backing track in the key of A minor. But let's just use the same one. Let's play the A minor scale with the backing track. And if you can't keep up, which you probably won't be able to at this point, you can slow it down. 2, 3, 4. Okay, now if you can do that already, then try the eighth notes. You want to alternate the pick when you do that. Go down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. be 2 per beat. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and instead of 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. And you can do the same exercise with that scale. Play random notes. With articulation. Okay, if you get good at that, you can try playing random eighth notes. And that helps you learn how to improvise eventually, because the first thing is to memorize your scale. The second thing is to play with it, randomize it, but with rhythms. And then the last thing is you can try mixing the quarter notes and the eighth notes together like this. Put a longer note in there. So those are just some exercises that you can try, and you're probably going to hit some wrong notes, and that's okay. Just the more you practice it, the more accurate you'll get with the notes. Okay? So that's kind of an introduction to an exercise for you to learn improvisation, a new scale, the A minor scale. Next thing, notes on the 6th string. Okay, so all of these have a lot of ledger lines, so you have to be careful. Okay, here is E. That's the lowest note on our guitar unless we tune the E string down to something lower like D or C, which we haven't even talked about that, like alternate tunings. If we have time, which I think we probably will, we might talk about alternate tunings for the guitar and maybe do like a Hawaiian slack key song or something like that. Maybe at least one, I think, would be good. E is 3 ledger lines, 1, 2, 3, and it's below the line. That's how you can tell E. F is the same 3 ledger lines, but this one is on the line. That's F, the 1st fret. And then G is only 2 ledger lines, and that one is below the line. Okay? If you don't have this showing you where the notes are, we talked about before how you'd figure that out. You'd start from E, which is the bottom line of the treble clef, and work your way reverse through the alphabet. So E, the space underneath is D, the line under that is C, the space under that is B, the line under that is A, and then the space under that is G. Because when you get to A, the next one will be G, and then if you're going up, when you get to G, the next one will be A, because we only have A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Okay? So, E, F, and G. And then let's do number 53 here. Ready? 1, 2, well, yeah, that one, we got to remember the notes, some other notes too. Actually, let's do 51, because that's just notes on the 6th string. Ready? 1, 51, 2, 3, 4. E, E, F, F, G, G, remember other notes. We're going to start on F. Ready? And F, D, C, D, F, D, C, D, F, D, C, D, A, G, F. Okay, let's skip down and let's do doo-wop. Okay, here we got 1 and 3, 4. So only 3 beats in each measure. So if this was on the exam and you wrote the counting 1, 2, 3, 4, that's going to be wrong. Or I saw some where some people were writing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Every time you have a measure line, you have to start the count. So this is 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, we will all learn this before the end of the semester. All right, so first note is C, third fret on the 5th string. Ready? And C, 2, 3, C, B, A, 2, 3, A, 2, E, F, 2, 3, F, 2, F, G, 2, 3, G, A, B, C. Yeah, that sounds like some kind of 1950s pop song bass line. Give my regards to Broadway and bass rock. You can do those on your own, and you should, because there will be at least one Flipgrid assignment coming up where you have to read some notes. It might be something later on, like do something where you have to read a lot of notes, like this one. Or the last one in this is pretty good because you have to read the notes on all. Oh, my ledger line disappeared for a second. This makes you read all the notes on all 6 strings. Well, not all the notes, but it makes you read at least something on each string. So this is a good one to kind of be the last thing for the semester. So this will be one coming up where you'll have to play this for a Flipgrid assignment. And no tabs to help you figure it out, so sorry. But once you do notes on the 6th string, we know basically all the natural notes. No sharps, no flats, but all the natural notes on all 6 strings, which is a good foundation to set for yourself. Okay, next up is Hotel California. So you know, I'm not going to spend like a lot of time on these because we should know how to read tabs now and figure things out. Now, this one is a lot like what we did with Amazing Grace and Aloha Oi Harmony, where all you have to do is hold down the chord that it says in the chord symbol. On this one, this is capo 7. Which means you clamp one of these thingies, which is called a capo, on the 7th fret. Now, I'm not going to use the capo today because some of you probably don't have one. So we're going to do it in the open position, But that's the beauty of the capo. You can capo or not capo. It doesn't really affect the way that you learn this thing and the way you practice it. Now, you see where all the notes are stacked up here, one on top of another. They're kind of a little bit like this, but you're meant to play that all at the same time. And that little squiggly arrow line, what that means is you don't strum it all at once like that. You strum it kind of slowly like that. Now you don't want to strum it too slowly. You don't want to go like that. That's way too slow because it has to fit in that quarter note spot. But you strum it kind of like that. Not all at once, but a little bit slower. And that's what the squiggly line with the arrow on it means. And then we're going to pick these notes: 4th string, 3rd string, 4th string, 2nd string, 3rd string, 1st string. Okay, and this is a style of tabs. I kind of like this because they put the rhythms in the tab staff using the numbers as the note heads. And then when you have a note that's longer, like a half note, they put it in a circle to let you know that it's a half note. Now I kind of like this because it's easier to read the tab and the rhythm at the same time. But don't get confused by that. All of this is like just kind of transcribing the rhythms down into the tab staff, and you'll see this in some styles of tab. Okay, so again, strum slowly: 4th string, 3rd string, 4th string, 2nd string, 3rd string, 1st string, and it goes 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2. Now here you can let go, and all of these notes are in the E minor chord that you're holding down. This is where we're going to switch chords. So you go 0, 2. When you put that note down, just keep holding it. Now, the chord we know for B7 is this big B7, but we can like kind of reduce this down into a little B7 by taking our pinky off, putting our ring finger where the pinky is, and putting our middle finger where the ring finger was. Because on this part, we don't actually have to hold down all of these notes. So like in Let It Be, for example, where we're doing G, but we only had to hold down that one single note because the other notes weren't being played. So this little B7 you can do like this. Okay, so let's back it up to here. 0, 2. Now hold that note because it's going to be part of the little B7 chord. This finger comes down on the 1st string. Alright, that's how you do that. Now, one of the benefits of picking the notes one by one like this is that you don't have to put them all down all at once, because since we're not strumming them all at the same time, we can put them down as they're needed, which is a very efficient way to do it. That's the way I would do it when I'm playing a song at full speed, is I would place the notes one at a time as I'm picking them. So that's a good thing to practice, is like, well, you have this little thing as a lead-in. So you get one of the notes put down here, and then you add this note. And then finally, you don't even have to place this note until you get to it, and then you can put it down. And that helps to make things more efficient. So we kind of don't have the problem of chord switching that we do when we're strumming on this one. Okay, next thing is D sus2, and we're holding down all the notes. Watch out for this one because it's tied, so you don't play this note, you just play this one. So okay, A7. or it's actually A9/C sharp, but they're being a little bit lazy with the chord symbol on this chart. And then you're going to pick these one at a time. You're already holding all of them down. Ready? 2, 3, 4, C. Here we got a hammer on. Okay, we know what that means, right? But just like in Aloha Oi, you're going to keep holding the chord down while you do the hammer on. So you take your middle finger off, play the D string open, and hammer on like that. Okay? That's the thing. It makes it sound cooler. It makes it sound a little bit country there. And then G. You don't have to do anything except pick the strings. Sorry, 2 more notes there. And then A minor 7. And then B7. Now B7 is a tough chord to switch to. Hopefully you've been practicing switching to that chord when you practice the strumming for the Hotel California riff. But in this case, you don't have to place all the notes at the same time, so you can place them one at a time like this. But then just keep holding them down, and you put the last one down last. And that is, if you practice it that way, it's really helpful, because as you start to speed it up, that gives you an advantage and allows you to keep playing more continuously rather than stopping and setting up your chord and then playing. And that's the point of that, is like you want to keep playing continuously. So that's a good way to do it, is playing the notes as you place them. Okay? But you still have to know which finger goes where, because eventually you'll be holding the chord. You just don't. But you just don't have to get them all set up at the same time. Now there's one mistake in this chart. This is not a guitar profile, so this is not one that I can really fix. But this last note in this D measure, well, it really should be D sus2, which is a D without the middle finger. This should actually be a 0, because this is where you take your fingers off to make the switch to the next chord. And if you listen to the recording and you play along, eventually you'll notice that this should be a 0, because that's the note he plays in the recording, is 0. So instead of 3, and if you print this out, you can make a little mark there to make that a 0. And it makes sense, because that's where you want to switch the chord. And a lot of these, you'll notice they have a 0 at the end, which is kind of like where you make the switch, right? So like if you see a 0 at the end of one of the measures and the next measure has a different chord, that means that that's where you should be taking your fingers off the strings and switching. So that's pretty cool. This is a cool riff. When you put that all together, or you can put the capo on. A good way to practice this is to play through that several times until it starts to get familiar, and then put the recording on and like press play, but slow it down like way down, like 50%, maybe even 40%, and try playing along. Sorry, my guitar is buzzing. It has a little bit of a problem that needs to be fixed. Except I can't fix it right now because I'm shooting a series of videos, and in order to get it fixed I'd have to leave it there for like a couple weeks. It's gonna have to wait till vacation, but yeah. Got little buzzy notes. And the way the song goes, you would play this 4 times, twice for the intro and twice for the verse, and then when it goes to the chorus you would strum the chords normally the way that it's written out in the chord chart that we did before, the capo 7 chords. So when it goes to the chorus where it goes, "Welcome to the Hotel California," that's the lyric they always sing when they go to the chorus. That's just strumming. Strum the chorus chords the way you would when you're strumming the chords for the Hotel California Capo 7 chords. Okay, sweet. Last thing, have you ever seen the rain? Okay, now let's learn the strum pattern here. Okay, now this strum pattern looks a lot like our Brown-Eyed Girl strum pattern. It's very similar. It's got the note tied in the same place. Instead of a quarter note here, we've got 2/8 notes. But the main thing that we've got is this big X thing. And this is how you do X, okay, like this. All right, now when we did Stand By Me, we did this kind of an X. And that's one way to do it. That's a good way to do it. Stand By Me. There's a lot of songs, you know, where you'd make the X sound by hitting the string like that. Okay, this is another kind of X that I want to show you, and this is often referred to as the chukka chukka strum. Okay, and it's like this. Instead of hitting the strings, we're actually, what we're doing is we're muting the strings with this part of the hand and then strumming down with the pick. Okay, so take your hand and kind of like karate chop the strings like this, so that you're holding down and muting all 6 strings. Okay, now take your pick and make that sound. You don't want to hear anything except you see, you heard a string go off. That's what you don't want. You want the strings muted. Okay, again, take your hand, karate chop, hi-ya, so that you're holding down all 6 strings. Keep pressing down on all 6 strings. And that's the sound that you want. Okay, now do the same thing except lift your hand and come down with the pick and mute the strings at the same time. Okay, now when you do that, you don't have to follow through with the strum. Really, the sound kind of happens on these strings and then you're kind of coming down, but I'm not actually hitting like all 6 strings. I just want that sound. Okay, so that's the technique, the chukka chukka strum. All right, and you just have to sit there and practice it. You don't want to hear like strings ringing. You just want to hear that. Okay. Now let's do the strum pattern with that. So you'll notice there's a down symbol there, and that's because we're coming down, but we're coming down on the chukka. Okay, so first two, down, up on the chord. Ready? Down, up, chuck, up, up, down, up, down, up, chuck, up, down, up, or down, up, X, up, down, up, X, up, down, up. We can't actually add another X over here on beat 4. But I think it's good just to have one X to start. On this song, you can do this C. When I see John Fogerty playing this song, I think he plays C a lot like this. I think we talked about this. Is this one of the chords that we did in another song? I can't remember. I think we did F like this, but if you take this F, and you move everything up one string, leave this in the same place, then you get this kind of C. It's called C/G. The way you get there from C is you move this to the 6th string and bring your pinky and put it where your ring finger was. And a lot of people like this C because you can strum all 6 strings and it gives the C kind of a little bit of a fuller sound. So if you're like wanting to challenge yourself playing C a little bit differently, you can try this C/G on this song. Okay, so the strum pattern is kind of the easy part, and then we've got this this intro. So we have these 2/16 notes. That's like a quick. Okay, now if you listen to the recording, you'll hear the intro. Okay, so that's like, you add this to, and then this is just the strum pattern that we just learned. But it has this added to the front of it. Now this one, it comes up short here. It goes up, down, and then it has a quick switch to C, and it does the same thing. Now that's pretty tough, but usually switching from F to C is just kind of like a little hop where you just move your fingers. This one comes up and these hop up one string. So you go down, up, 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 down, down, up, down. Okay, so intro, let me zoom out here. Pretty small, but you have your own copy in front of you, supposed to. Okay. And then the verse is like a lot of C and G. It's very repetitive. That's the easy part. The chorus. This is the other part of the song we need to talk about, okay? So, strum pattern on F and G, ready? And then here we have a whole different little riff here, or strum pattern. The single notes are the bass notes. So here we just play that single note, and we go up, down, up. Okay? Up, down, up. And then C/B is like this. You move this finger to the 5th string, and this one goes like this. So this is sort of like E minor, but we're holding down the same note as C. It's called C/B. Alright? E minor, or you can think of it as like A minor, and then you take these 2 fingers and move them up 1 string. Okay, let's do that again. C. And that's another thing you can do, is you can play this note first and then bring this behind it. A minor, and A minor over G. And you want to take your fingers off here because you're going to switch back to F. That's the other thing you got to watch out for, are the repeat signs. No endings on this. We've got a DS here. That's the only thing. No coda, but just DS. And if you paid attention to the lesson about music form, you know that DS is short for dal segno, and dal segno sends you back to this sign. Always sends you back to this S with the line through it and the 2 dots, the segno. Okay? And that's all you have to do here. You go DS and do this twice, do this line twice because it's in repeat brackets, and then this twice, and then this, and that's the whole song. Okay, let's play that riff. This is the tricky part of the song. Okay, single note, up, down, up, single note, up, down, up, down, up, A minor, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, up. But that's why this song is, I mean, I can't say this is like a better song than Brown Eyed Girl, because ranking songs is irrelevant, but I think the guitar part is definitely it's more interesting, because in Brown Eyed Girl we just do the same strum pattern for the entire song, and that's good for learning your chords and learning to play the strum pattern and switching from chord to chord. That's a good way to learn that. But this is more interesting because we're adding different layers. We have a rhythmic thing with the chukka chukka, and then we have like a little intro thing where they've added the quick strum. Sorry, I went to the wrong chord. Now you can always add in a chukka strum to whatever strum pattern you're doing. If you want, that's your prerogative. And the places where that usually happens are on beat 2 and beat 4. Those are the best places to do that. And when we accent beat 2 and beat 4, we call that backbeat. And it creates a multi-layered rhythm effect. So that'll give you something to work on. Doing the strum pattern first is what I would get, and practice that chukka strum. And then do the intro where you add in the little quick strum to the strum pattern. I always want to go to G there. Chorus riff, which is another cool thing because it gives this little, it does this little bass line. Now, if I wanted to make that really hard, I would add in the chucka strum on beat 2 and 4, here and here and here and here. I'm not gonna torture you like that. I don't think they do that in the song anyway. I think they just go. Okay, so that is Have You Ever Seen the Rain? And I know I said that we were going to do Sakura Sakura, but let's save that one for next time. Okay, I don't want to go over 1 hour, and we've already reached the 1 hour. So we learned a new scale, A minor. We talked about doing some improv exercises with the backing track, first playing the scale up and down with quarter notes with the backing track, and then doing random quarter notes with the backing track as an improv exercise, which is fun to do. And notes on the 6th string, the Hotel California riff, and the Have You Ever Seen the Rain, the strum pattern, the chucka strum, the intro quick strum thing, and the chorus riff. That's really all there is to that song, other than watching out for the repeat signs and the dal segno, or DS for short. Okay, and that's it for today. I will see you in the next video. Mahalo.